Many people reading the Old Testament encounter various groups mentioned in the narrative. The Old Testament identifies and describes several peoples, asserting that their ancestors were even relatives and brothers of the Israelites. One of these peoples, who shared fraternal ties with the Israelites, were the Edomites, also known as the people of Edom. The Edomites consisted of various tribes composed of descendants of Esau's sons and grandsons, giving rise to a distinct community in relation to the Israelites. Responding to the requests of many subscribers to our channel, in this video, I will discuss the current whereabouts of the Edomites, the descendants of Esau. With that said, enjoy another video from our channel. Where are the descendants of Esau today? Those familiar with the figure of Esau in the Old Testament often associate him with the biblical description portraying him as a very hairy, bearded and red-haired man. However, it is common for people to think of him as red-haired, although the Bible does not confirm this characteristic. In reality, when examining the biblical terms in Hebrew and Aramaic, we discover that the reference is not to the color of his hair, but rather to the tone of his skin. Esau was born ruddy, reddish, but biblical translations depict him as red-haired, leading to variations in interpretation. An interesting curiosity is that, in comparison, Jacob was born with less hair and a less reddish skin tone. When Rebekah was pregnant, something fascinating happened. She noticed that her pregnancy did not follow the usual course. Unique sensations emanated from her belly, something that did not even compare to the experience of a woman pregnant with twins. Faced with this, she sought divine guidance directly, questioning God about the enigma that surrounded her. It was something so extraordinary that it required divine clarification. The Torah narrates that, passing by a house dedicated to idolatry, the baby manifested with kicks, as if wanting to leave, as if belonging to that place. However, when faced with a Torah study house already existing at the time, the same scene repeated itself. The baby also indicated his preference, as if wanting to leave because there he belonged. Faced with this mystery, the matriarch decided to seek answers, intrigued by the fact that her son aligned himself so much with idolatry, as well as monotheism. It was then that she sought the wisdom of one of Noah's sons, Shem, who was also a wise prophet who maintained a study house. His answer was clear, and prophetic Rebekah was not carrying a single son, but two from her womb would emerge, two nations destined for a peculiar dynamic. A constant alternation between rise and decline, where one would inevitably overpower the other and vice versa. There would be no perfect harmony, both would not walk together in a stable balance. Although Rebekah knew of this peculiar destiny, she chose not to reveal it to her husband, Isaac. When the children were born, the firstborn was Esau, and the reason behind this name is revealed in a subsequent chapter of the story. His name originates from the Hebrew azoi, which in English we call Esau. Despite not having a specific meaning in Hebrew, Esau derives from the word azui, which suggests the idea of someone who comes ready. This representation is evident in the Torah, which describes Esau as born full of hair and body hair, a remarkable singularity for a newborn. The unique nature of his birth, where he already exhibited unusual characteristics, earned him his name. From a young age, his mother noticed the striking difference between her firstborn, Esau, and her younger son, Jacob. Jacob was considered a pure and innocent man, dedicated to the study of the Torah in the tent. In contrast, Esau sought action and adrenaline, becoming a hunter who explored the fields. Esau, Jacob's twin brother, was therefore one of the brothers of the Israelite people. The Edomites were among the first groups to be considered brothers of the Israelites, both practically and physically, as Jacob and Esau were twin brothers. As both peoples were Semitic, there was a certain resemblance between them, including in their appearance. It is worth noting an interesting curiosity in the Bible. Esau is also referred to by another name. The term Gedim, therefore, Esau and Edom are essentially the same person, with Edom being not only the name of Esau but also of the land inhabited by the Edomite people. An interesting curiosity is that the term Gedim has a literal meaning of red. The land that the Edomites, descendants of Esau, occupied in the region was called the land of the Seir Mountains, or the land of Mount Seir. This land was specially designated by God for the descendants of Esau, Jacob's brother. Esau's wives were Judith, Basemath, Mahalath, Adah, and Oholibamah, totaling 5 wives. The sons and grandsons of Esau formed the first groups of Edomites, who also had kings, anticipating the Israelites in this aspect. One notable king among Esau's descendants was a man named Jubah, who is essentially the biblical Job. For those who don't know, Job was a descendant of Abraham through Esau. An intriguing curiosity about the Edomites is that, to the Egyptians, they were known by the ancient term Shisu, just like the Midianites. These desert nomads mainly inhabited the region of Jordan, extending to an area near Saudi Arabia. Due to their life in the desert, they were perceived by the Egyptians as men of the sands, often referred to in this way. The language spoken by the ancient Edomites was Edomite. Many experts suggest that, by mingling with some Canaanites in the region, the descendants of Esau absorbed cultural traits, deities, and even a dialect similar to the local Canaanite language. Many scholars argue that the Edomites used a Canaanite dialect, although Esau and his descendants initially communicated in ancient Aramaic. It is worth noting that the language spoken by the Edomites themselves had various traits and similarities to ancient Aramaic, evidencing their Aramean roots. Both Jacob and Esau were genetically Arameans, leading many to speculate that the descendants of Esau, by adopting a language closer to Canaanite and Phoenician, did so because of Esau's initial wives, originating from the Canaanite region. In summary, the language of the Edomites was a combination of Canaanite and Aramaic. An interesting curiosity is that one of Esau's wives had Ishmaelite origins, belonging to the Arab lineages descended from Ishmael, who in turn was part of Abraham's lineage. Esau married one of his cousins named Mahalath, whom he called Basemath. This choice reflected the Semitic tradition of marrying only women of the same ethnicity and belief. By following this practice, Esau set a precedent for his children, encouraging them to follow the tradition of marrying within the same kinship. Esau's attitude was influenced by his parents' disapproval of him marrying women from other peoples, such as the Canaanites. Thus, he set an example by taking a wife from the same kinship, following the ancient laws and traditions of the Semites. Many people are intensely curious to find out what happened to Esau's descendants and whether they still exist today. The answer to this question is affirmative. The Edomites, descendants of Esau, Jacob's brother, still exist and inhabit a region in the Middle East. Although they have intermixed with other Semitic peoples, they persist as a distinct people in that area. Interestingly, the ancient land of Edom is located in Jordan, or at least in a Jordanian region that encompasses Mount Seir. The entire Seir region is the land of Esau's descendants, meaning the Arabs inhabiting that region are directly descended from the ancient Edomite tribes. The present-day country of Jordan has received various names over the centuries and millennia. The first biblical name attributed to the entire land, or at least that region, is the land of Uz, equivalent to the ancient land of Edom. Over time, due to the presence of different populations that settled in the region, the names of certain areas ended up being changed. A future land came to be known by the name of Ammon. The descendants of Ammon, notably Ben-Ammi, one of Lot's sons with one of his daughters, were the original inhabitants of that region. Before that time, we had information that a Canaanite group called the Horites resided in the area that comprises the entire Jordan. The Horites occupied the region before giving way to the emergence of various Semitic peoples. These included the Ammonites, descendants of Lot, and the Edomites and Moabites, who were also from the lineages of Esau and Lot, respectively. Currently in Jordan, these ancient Semitic peoples, Edomites, Moabites, and Ammonites coexist, forming a cultural blend. Although some areas maintain a purer lineage of a specific descent, fundamentally, Jordan is home to these diverse Semitic communities. I hope you enjoyed this exploration of Esau's descent. A request from you. Leave in the comments which other people spark your interest for future videos. If you've made it this far, thank you for the support with your like and by sharing this video with friends and family. May everyone be under God's protection. See you soon.